In the world of exercise, no pain equals no gain. Or does it? My guest here today is here to challenge that assertion, and I'm actually looking forward to that a great deal. From Women's Health Annual Visit in New York, this is ReachMD. I'm Dr. Matt Birnholz, and I'm joined by Anne Koller. She's from Aqua Studios in New York, or for those in the know, just call it Aqua. And she's here to talk to us about exercise and looking at whether pain, in fact, is necessary to create good results from exercise. And that's something that a lot of clinicians have on their minds when they're recommending exercise. Oftentimes they're thinking, well, you're going to have to get into the pain game situation. It's going to have to hurt a little bit. And you're going to have to be pretty sore in order to make gains. Certainly a lot of people in the exercise world, the meatheads, if you will, are always thinking, if I don't get really sore, I didn't do anything. So tell me a little bit about this assertion of pain equaling gain. What do you think about that?
It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I was an athlete in college, a swimmer, and I actually suffered from severe scoliosis, so I wasn't allowed to do other sports. The only thing I could do was swimming, because there's things that we can do in water that we just can't do on land. There's ways that our body is supported so we can be lean, we can feel strong, we can be carried and supported by the water. And that's really the concept that Aqua Studio NY has with aquacycling. So it's underwater cycling where the legs are under the water from the hips on down and the arms are above water. So you're doing swimming with arms and different arm movements and stretches, and then the legs are going underneath and the water provides the resistance. So you can really choose the workout you get. So what happens is people come and say, where's the resistance? And I said, actually, it's your choice. So however you want to challenge yourself, however you want to experience this time with the water is up to you. So we have a lot of clients that have lower back issues or reconstructive knee surgery, arthritis, fibromyalgia. And it's an approach that is hard for them to find when they're transitioning into a workout. And afterwards, the best part is that you don't feel sore, because it loosens your joints. It's a lymphatic massage. It's really great.
So you don't feel sore. Is that in part because being in the water, you're not dealing with as much gravity resistance? What is going on there?
Exactly. It's very low gravity. I won't say zero gravity. Maybe in one of the positions is a recumbent position on the bike, so you hold on to the seat and you fall back in the water. Your head is out of the water. But yeah, it's very, very low gravity. And it was developed by a physical therapist. So in Italy about 20 years ago, specifically for a client, for athletes who needed to still get their cardio and still get muscle toning, but they couldn't have the impact because they were still healing. And so we find that people choose aquacycling when they are transitioning back or they want to lose weight. Maybe they've been out of the fitness game for a while. And they want something that also is a little stress-free. I think nowadays, I was a cycling instructor and I've done TRX and body conditioning and boot camps and all that stuff. And there is this stigma in the U.S. and especially New York that if you're not sore after your workout, then you did something wrong. And we deal with that every day at Aqua. They're like, why wasn't I sore the next day? I slept like a baby. I felt really good. Did I even burn calories? Did I really do a workout? And we have to explain to them, yes, you're getting 800 kcal plus calorie burn sometimes.
800 kcal?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And plus the temperature of the water is 84 degrees. It's salt water. And so it's designed to cool your body off when you sweat. So they're sweating and they're heating up. They're getting great blood circulation. They're increasing their breathing capacity. And they're like, am I doing anything? But they are, because water just has that ability to remind you that you are in control of your healing and that you're in control of your strength.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the interesting misconceptions, if you will, or at least stereotypes around exercise in aquatic situations is that classic image of an elderly person with two rubber duckies around their arms sort of doing very, very small movement exercises. And that goes back at least 20 years, the image of that. How does your studio contend with that, or how do you design your workouts to go beyond that image?
At Aqua, we say you're empowered to choose your experience. And so in a class, we have 14 bikes, and it's not abnormal to see a woman in her 60s or 70s, or someone who's come back from reconstructive knee surgery next to a 25-year-old who's a fitness freak and wants that new trend, that new workout. Cycling's huge in New York right now. You know, there's private studios for cycling. Next to someone who wants cross-training, who's an athlete, or we've had a lot of marathon runners that when it's too cold or they're just kind of in a lot of pain, they'll do aqua and they'll get their cardio. And they'll get their range of motion and agility training. It's really a diverse group, and we thought that the clientele would actually be a lot younger, but our average is like 40 to 55 age group. It's women that run the gamut. Mothers really love this. We have clients who've stayed with aqua throughout their pregnancy. One who gave birth 3 days after one of the aquacycling classes. And they find that the baby really loves it because the water sits at the level of the belly. So the baby loves it and they feel buoyant and they don't feel pregnant for 45 minutes. So it's kind of magical for them, you know.
No vena cava syndrome.
Exactly.
In that 1 hour. Right?
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, I would do anything for, you know, this all day long because they're swollen and they're bloated and they're just, you know, their body's changing so fast. And so the water provides this opportunity for them to be themselves again.
Right.
So, yeah, it is a diverse community.
Well, the age range that you said was most prominent for you guys doesn't entirely surprise me, only because I think that there is a lack of awareness around aquatic sports if it's not just swimming or Olympic swimming pools. People just don't know that they can do low resistance type of exercise and yet be high intensity until they've had enough requisite experience getting injured, which is where people often get prescribed this. As you said, physical therapist was one who started this studio. So that makes actually a lot of sense to me. People who've gone through a few injuries, had to get physical rehab, got introduced to doing something in low resistance environment in a pool, and then realized, well, actually, there's something here.
Yes.
And then get introduced to your studio, which you said is the only one in the United States?
Yeah, it's the only boutique studio right now in the U.S. So a physical therapist in Italy designed the concept, and then it really took off in Paris. So our founder, Esther Gauthier, she brought it to New York. She brought it about 4 years ago. She started working on the studio, and then we opened 2.5 years ago. And it was during a time that, you know, you had the Soul Cycles and the like flywheels, and you had these private gyms just for cycling. So it was a huge craze happening for cycling in general. And then you have someone like us that comes to the game, and it's like, okay, you're going to cycle in the water. And the media just like took a hold of it and ran with it because it was really hard for people to conceptualize. The questions we got were, do I need a snorkel? Is it, you know, am I in a tank alone? Like, what do I wear? What kind of shoes do I need? It was just hard to, because of what you're saying about this aquatic exercise, people think because it's low impact, it's low cardio, or it's not going to give you a workout. Something about Americans, like we have to feel the sweat on our face or something, or we have to be totally stressed out at a gym to really feel like we're getting a workout. But Esther's take on it is very much of a French approach to exercise. And there was a recent article in Vogue about how the French women work out. And they said you would never see some of these big gyms that exist here, boutique gyms, in France, because French women walk and talk and hike and do things that are natural part of society for their workout. They don't get on a treadmill and just go at it. It's a healing approach to fitness.
That's a really great keyword. If you're just joining us, this is ReachMD. I'm Dr. Matt Birnholz, and I'm joined by Anne Koller. She is from Aqua Studio, New York, and we're talking about resistance exercise on both land and in water, and how the pain equals gain syndrome might actually not be the right way to go for exercise recommendations. So let's stick with that. You said you got around to the concept of a health practice.
Yes.
That seems to be one of the underlying issues when it comes to exercise recommendations in the U.S., is that we associate exercise with stress. You said people feel like they're not doing anything unless they are caked in sweat, unless they have mud on their face, unless they have run the gauntlet that shows demonstrable proof that they have done something. Whereas in Europe and other parts of the world, it's a very, very different paradigm, very different approach. from your perspective as somebody who has tried a lot of different sports, has done a lot of intensive exercises and has led them, and then moved in on this, which is a very, very unique style of exercise and an approach to exercise, how would you recommend clinicians talk to patients when it comes to exercise in light of what you now understand about exercise recommendations?
I mean, clinicians want their patients to feel good, right? For the most part, they want them to find a way to take care of their bodies, and I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think clinicians can be hesitant to send their patients back out there into the fitness world, and I love that a physical therapist designed this because he knew that once they're at a certain point in their recovery, they're going to want to be active. They're going to want to be back in control of their body. And that's what this does. And I know how it feels, at a young age. Sports were taken away from me when I was 12 because of this severe scoliosis. And swimming is what healed me. And swimming is what showed me that I could be in ownership of my body and that I could be in ownership of my healing, along with doctors and chiropractors and other methods that I was using. Aqua's about being the master of your universe, of your body. And I think the more that we can do that in fitness and not take it away from someone, or someone's just shouting at you to do a certain workout or a certain set, but that you choose what you want. So that's what I say at the beginning of my classes, and the other instructors do as well, is choose wisely. If the bike is designed so that if your legs don't move, it won't move for you. So in comparison to an on-land bike has a flywheel that kind of has a little drag, and it'll catch for you. So from 12 to 6 on a clock, if you press down on an on-land bike, you'll get that nice power stroke. And the 6 to 12, the bike will help you, right? It kind of pulls up for you. At Aqua, if you go 12 to 6 and that's all you do, you stop. Mm-hmm. So because the water is running through a chamber, and that's what's controlling the movement of the bike, because there is no wheel and there is no cord that contracts the wheel. I should get our bike guru in here, our cycling guru, to talk about it. I'm talking in very simple terms.
That's actually good, because I personally like the metaphor of 12 to 6. I feel like in most exercises, I'm always in a downward trajectory anyway, and then trying to ride some sort of wave on the other way. So
exactly.
You're saying you get nothing back when it comes to working on the resistance side underwater. You have to what you put in is directly what you get. And I think, and I was a cycling instructor, and so I had complaints from clients that were like, I have really big thighs. Like, I love spinning. I love it so much, but my thighs are getting so big and I'm like feeling bulky and I want to lean down. And I said, you have to add more resistance, and you have to bring your awareness to the back of your legs, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves. Otherwise, they just won't be engaged. And so at Aqua, you have to use your hamstrings. You have to use your glutes. You have to use your calves, your ankles, the back of your knees, your hips, your abdominals. That's what holds you on the bike. Mm-hmm. So I tell them, if you're not feeling like you're getting a good workout, because when we first came out, it was like, where's the resistance? There was questions about it. And I was like, you choose the resistance. So if you feel that you're not sweating or you're not getting a good workout, that's just the choice you made today. Mm-hmm. So the faster you pedal is directly correspondent to the resistance you feel. And the resistance is correspondent to how many calories you're burning, how much heat you're creating within your body, and how much you're sweating. So I kind of tell them, you want more? Pedal more. Pull your arms down deep into the water. The deeper the water is, the more resistance you have. The heavier the water is. So it's kind of like if you're injured or you're pregnant or you're hungover, you can still get what you want. Dial it back. I'm not going to yell at you and tell you, I don't know your body. Only you know your body. And so choose what works for you in your situation. That's why we can have a 75-year-old or an 85-year-old next to a 25-year-old, next to a woman who's 8 months pregnant, next to someone who's just had reconstructive surgery, and they're all having fun, and they're all getting what they need. Well, with that, I very much want to thank Anne Koller. We've been talking about exercise, underwater resistance, a new paradigm of doing exercise with her studio, Aqua Studio, over in New York. This is ReachMD. I'm Dr. Matt Birnholz. For any comments, questions, join us at reachmd.com. And thanks as always for being with us.